Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Noah from PhoneDog.com. Welcome to another PhoneDog dogfight. This one is between the two newest members of the BlackBerry clan. On my right, it's the Storm, the 9530 Storm for Verizon, the first ever touchscreen BlackBerry. On my left, it's the brand new 8900, the T-Mobile version, the Curve 2, as it's being called. Now, the Storm is the phone that really seemed like BlackBerry and Verizon thought would show up in everybody's hands by now, if not, by a little later on this year. The 8900, I think, is actually the phone you're going to see in most BlackBerry users' hands. Whether it's not necessarily the T-Mobile version, but we'll see. We've seen a couple versions of this come out already before the T-Mobile version, and we'll see more versions of it on other networks in the near future, not only in America, in the US, but also across the globe. The Curve, really one of the most, if not the most popular BlackBerry ever. Consumers love this device as well as business people. It's got the small form factor with the full QWERTY and then some consumer-friendly features. And the new version takes it up a notch with a kind of sleeker, sexier design, high-res display, higher-res camera with video capture, some other goodies on it. The Storm, on the other hand, is really, well, we're not going to compare BlackBerries to other devices. We'll just say it's the first touchscreen BlackBerry and was really meant, I think, to take on certain, the trend of touchscreen phones and to bring Verizon a top-shelf touchscreen phone. Obviously, lots of consumer-friendly features on this one as well. The full touchscreen. Which one will reign supreme in the PhoneDog dogfight? And more importantly, which one do y'all prefer? I said y'all again. You guys told me not to say that. Which one do you prefer? All right, so stick around, watch the dogfight, and then hit us up in the PhoneDog forums and let us know what's your choice, the 8900 or the Storm. Let's get to it. All right, so on the left, it's the BlackBerry 8900, the new Curve. Again, this is the T-Mobile branded version. Right there, T-Mobile. On the right, it's the Storm 9530, the Verizon branded version. They just put it right on the front for you in the theme. And, the differences, we'll start kind of, I guess, from skin deep and work our way in. Styling-wise, they both have similar styling cues. This is the new look of BlackBerry. The Pearl Flip, the Bold, rather, all have this kind of new look with the black chrome trim, kind of rounded edges. Both of these phones have the same kind of stealth buttons on top for locking and muting. The back, kind of a similar look on both. Different color scheme, but similar kind of brushed plastic. It's especially on the Curve meant to look like metal, but it's kind of more plasticky. And then, similar layout as well on the side with the buttons, the USB ports in a different spot on the two phones, and then the other side with your rocker button and headphone jack. So, kind of a new look for BlackBerry, late 2008, 2009, kind of more modern. The black with chrome trim, kind of rounded edges, sleeker look, that kind of thing. The obvious difference, with the two phones, I think, in terms of form factor, is the three things: the display, the keyboard, and then the overall size and weight. So working from the back there, the 8900 is smaller and thinner and noticeably lighter than the Storm. Neither phone feels cheap at all. The Storm perhaps feels a little bit more, luxurious, but the 8900 I actually like that it's lighter weight. It doesn't, it's plasticky, but not. It doesn't feel like it's going to break or anything like that. It feels pretty solid, but very lightweight. Obviously, with the Storm, you've got the touchscreen, which is much larger, although the resolution is actually the same on the two devices. But physically, the display is much bigger on the Storm. And then, of course, in the 8900, you get the full QWERTY keyboard on front with the trackball. The Storm, there's no trackball. You're navigating by way of touching and clicking only. If you're not familiar with this, it's this new thing called SurePress, where the whole touchscreen is actually spring-mounted, and the whole thing clicks. And that's how you choose things on the Storm, is you point and then you click. So, feature-wise, the two phones are relatively similar in terms of feature sets. Both run the new BlackBerry OS 4.6. As mentioned, out of the box, the Curve, is pretty stable. The Storm had a ton of problems originally. There have been firmware updates, definitely getting better. Still a little bit laggy sometimes, especially the accelerometer doesn't always kick in as quickly as I might like it to, although sometimes it does. But definitely, the Storm has had its very well documented share of issues. The 8900, on the other hand, I've only had it for I guess about a week now, and it generally has worked really well. The one issue has been sometimes connecting to Wi-Fi networks. Once connected, sometimes I'll have some issues. It'll seem to sort of, it won't say that it's dropped out, but I'll lose connectivity for a moment or things like that. I would expect new firmware releases to fix that problem, whatever the problem seems to be. I've read about it on a few other blogs. Aside from that, it's pretty zippy. Both phones have, the new full-on web browser, which is great. This is the last page I looked at on the 8900, a page from PhoneDog. But really a big step up from the previous generation of BlackBerries as far as web browsing experience goes. We'll get the Storm loaded up so you can see it on here as well. We'll get PhoneDog. And this is kind of a sneak preview of, I think, what the big difference really is in the two devices, which is the keyboard, the way you actually enter text for messaging and everything else. Of course, connectivity differences. The 8900, the T-Mobile version, is GSM Edge with Wi-Fi, no 3G. The Storm on Verizon has 3G, EVDU Rev-A data speeds, but no Wi-Fi. So there's your trade-off. No Wi-Fi on the Storm, no 3G on the T-Mobile 8900. So it's a little bit of pick your poison, I guess. I mean, if you're dependent on one network or the other, that would probably make the call for you. I think if you're looking at the BlackBerry as a messaging device first and foremost, if email, IM, SMS, that kind of stuff, 3G is not really going to matter that much. I haven't had any problems with the push email on the 8900 running only on Edge. For web browsing, as you can see, the Edge is definitely slower. So if you're going to be using the phone for a lot of web browsing on the go, you'll definitely miss the 3G. And honestly, at this point, everything, all the new phones coming out everywhere except T-Mobile are 3G. So just from a keeping up with the Joneses standpoint, it's kind of too bad that there's no 3G on the 8900. The flip side is with Wi-Fi, T-Mobile offers not only faster data speeds, but also the UMA calling, which is really nice. So you get the advantage, as we talked about, of not using cell phone minutes when you're making Wi-Fi calls, UMA calling. Also, the call quality tends to be a little bit better, though I haven't really had any problems with the Storm call quality. Call quality has been really good. They have a new noise canceling system in the Storm, which has worked really well also. Here you can see the web browsers. Both of them, they look really good, similar experience. Obviously more screen real estate on the Storm than on the 8900, but really, nice and crisp on both devices. The screens look great. The web browser, not quite in the class of Mobile Safari or Opera or even Skyfire or the Android browser, but definitely a full-on HTML experience. Looks really good. You can see on the two devices there, the same thing shown on both.